This is the new 2023 Triumph Street Triple, or I should say 2023 Triumph Street Triple family, with 3 models of the 765 Triple to choose from next season. Although all 3 models share the same frame and swing arm as the previous version, there's very different geometry with a focus on sharper handling and making the bike more aggressive. There's also a tasty hike in power, an updated electronic suite, and a thinner stance with a new 15-litre tank. I doubt most people will moan about losing a few litres of fuel on a bike like this, but there's always a few. The base model, the 765R, gets a much higher spec than previously and comes in at a very enticing £9,595. The 765 RS now brags 128 horsepower with a significant engine update and even racier geometry changes, and will cost you £11,295. And finally, we have this stunning new Street Triple Moto 2 edition, which has all of the updates of the RS, plus a feast of Gucci bolt-ons and clip-on bars. In Triumph's own words, they listened to what the customers and press wanted and delivered the closest thing to a Moto 2 bike for the road, albeit without the fairing. The Street Triple Moto 2 edition is priced at £13,795. I went to the factory in Hinckley to fettle and touch the 2023 bikes and understand a bit more about the development with Stuart Wood, Triumph's chief engineer.
Stuart, let's start with the R then. So this is 120 PS, 118 Great British horsepowers.
Yep.
Is it the same as previous years where you've had a lower spec model? Is it for encouraging newer riders or that kind of thing, or is it?
Right, well, it is an increase in power for a start. 120 PS is really competitive in this class. When we get to the other models, we're class leading. You know, we're absolutely up and above everyone on that. It's about this bike being accessible at a really good price point as well.
So the price point has got to be a major thing as well.
Yeah. But we're not sacrificing any of the real performance you want for sports road riding. So we're on fully adjustable suspension, Brembo brakes. We've got all the technology. We can run through all of that separately, but it's all in there. It's a very complete bike. So this gives us the opportunity to set the bike up for what you'd expect from a street triple, which is very agile, very precise handling, and just the geometry we want. So we're at 23.7 degrees on headstock angle, so it's a really sharp bike. That's 98mm of trail and 1401 millimeters wheelbase. So a really agile bike, really well poised, with just an 826mm seat height.
And how does that geometry compare to the RS, for instance?
Okay, now the RS, we've taken it further. We've lifted the back end, we've steepened the headstock angle, so you're at 23.2 degrees.
Right,
Okay, that reduces the trail by 1 millimetre, and it shortens the wheelbase just a little bit because you've steepened the headstock angle, it brings the front wheel in. So you're just below 1400 millimetres. Again, this is all about agility, precision and handling. The seat height goes up a little bit, but it's only to 836. So it's not very high, but we have, for all the models, but specifically talking about these, a low seat accessory that you can buy, which drops that by 28 millimeters. So that's really significant. You're under 800 millimeters on the R, which is completely accessible, and it just makes all the bikes easier to get your feet to the ground without changing geometry. In addition, with the RS, you can actually get the dealer to remove a spacer that we've put in above the upper clevis on the rear suspension unit that drops the seat height another 10 millimeters.
So that spacer, is that contributing to the ride height change on the rear?
Absolutely.
It is. So that changes. And roughly what is the change from the previous bike to this one?
Okay. Well, if you think of it in terms of seat height, which is an easily measurable one, you're going from 825 to 836 millimeters, and on the headstock angle, we've gone from 23.9 to 23.2. So it's actually because it's not just the rear; it's the front as well. Obviously, you can set up on the suspension where exactly that sits in the stroke to adjust the geometry.
And if you had to, obviously, there's less weight on the rear. What have you done in terms of to sort of counteract that with rear grip? Is it just the case, well, there was enough anyway, and the electronics are good enough that we can
It's very, very, very small amount.
Yeah.
Yes, maybe the back being a little bit higher leans you forward just a little more, but the wheelbase is very slightly shorter as well, which would put the weight to the back. It's not a problem. The whole geometry and setup has been done as a complete bike, so it has been optimised. Each of the 3 bikes have been optimised, again, to give what you want, the grip, the precision, the agility.
Having spent several seasons now supplying engines to the Moto2 World Championship, Triumph was keen to harness what they've learnt in development over the past few years and filter that down into the bikes that me and you can buy.
There's no doubting that this bike was pretty much class leading anyway beforehand in previous guys. So this one with the extra power, how, without sending our viewers to sleep, just give us a quick rundown of how the power has been produced.
Okay, we're up 7 horsepower from 123 to 130 PS.
Yeah.
Okay, freer flowing engine, both intake, different intake ports, different exhaust system. We've got different combustion chamber, different piston, higher compression ratio. We're making higher combustion pressures. Basically, we've done a lot of work to bring our Moto2 learnings into the road bikes.
Now, talking of racing, I know these bikes, a lot of these bikes, will be raced. You know, the Daytona has gone for the moment, but you know, these street triples, particularly the RS, will be raced. How much effort and how much kind of persuasion from the racing side of things was taken into account building this bike?
Okay, the bikes we've always wanted them to be track focused, highly capable road bikes, but really good on the track. So obviously we are getting feedback. This is a racing class now. The bikes, street triples, are raced. They're raced.
I've raced them this year.
Isle of Man, Daytona. You know, this is, and obviously Supersport. So we're racing these bikes. So that is included in our thinking when we're producing the bike. So yeah, if you want to go racing, obviously you need to fit a fairing, but the bike's ready to go. Absolutely.
Now, one of the things I found interesting was the ergonomics. I think the bars are 12 mil wider.
Yeah, that's right.
Now, if there's one criticism I had on the bike on track, it just felt, especially with the mirrors, I guess, I didn't get to ride the bike without the mirrors, but it just felt a little bit awkward, and that was partially down to the sort of narrow bars, and it didn't feel like you had enough leverage. Was that a kind of a reaction to testers or journalists saying that kind of awkward?
Yeah,
exactly.
Both, not so much awkward, but definitely it will give you more leverage and more agility.
Yeah.
It's good. It's the right direction. It's again a trend. It's what we've done on other models. Get that width. Maximise that leverage and agility for best handling.
Before we get onto the sort of general electronics, let's talk about this baby. I mean, the camera doesn't do it justice. This colour. I mean, did you contact VR46 and said, can we have your Pantone reference?
No, it's glorious, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's absolutely glorious. Yeah. It's shockingly good.
Yeah. I mean, I obviously saw the pictures yesterday, but in the flesh, I guarantee you, even the camera won't pick it up. It's stunning, and it's something you've been quite reserved in your colours over recent years, and to launch that, it's just like.
No, we've done it in the past, haven't we?
We've had
exactly, big flamboyant colours. This isn't flamboyant. This is racing yellow, and it's punchy. It's really attention grabbing. When you add that to carbon fibre as well, where you've got exposed carbon fibre on those side panels, the front mud guard, the belly pan. It's brilliant.
You're probably not going to be able to answer this, but I will ask anyway. How much of the cost over the RS is because of the Moto2 connection? There's a financial, obviously, there has to be a financial reward for Dorna.
There's a value, but this is about the specification of the components to give you the performance.
Yeah.
So this is a good bike.
Yeah, I mean,
and
you have to look past the carbon and the paint to really look into it, what you're getting for the money, isn't it? I think there's a lot more than meets the eye.
Yeah. Absolutely.
The Moto2 edition has even sharper geometry, and coupled with the clip-on bars that are 80mm lower and 50mm further forward, there's much more weight on the front end. As well as lashings of carbon, you also get exclusively Öhlins NAX 30 forks, plus the Öhlins STX 40 shock that's in the RS for track setup perfection. Just 765 models of each colourway will be available, so if you are keen, get your order in sharpish.
So let's talk about electronics then. Let's go with the R first. Obviously more basic, but you still get, lots of electronic aids, etc.
Okay, it's actually not basic at all. We've
it's more basic.
loaded, but we've loaded the bike up. We've got optimised cornering traction control and ABS as standard. We've got an up and down quick shifter as standard. So yes, this may be an R model that costs substantially less money, but you've got what you need for a sports ride. Okay, so optimised cornering ABS and traction control, that takes the IMU in the ABS unit and gives us the ability to adjust how much throttle is applied for traction control, and obviously modulates the braking to give us best grip at all angles of lean.
And the RS, obviously we've started getting to slightly more sporty, and the dash, obviously you get the full TFT dash, etc.
We go up a stage with the electronics. We've got 4 riding modes on the R, but we've got 5 on the RS and 5 on the Moto 2. The extra mode is track mode. Now, with all of these bikes, with the ABS, we've got an ability to link some rear brake when you apply the front brake. So we can dial in a correct amount of rear brake to minimise your stopping distances and stabilise the bike. It's absolutely unobtrusive. We've got 2 separate maps that we work there, and they reference one another. One map is basically how much rear brake pressure you give for the amount of front lever pressure. That's also modified by how fast you're going.
Right, okay.
Okay, so it's really considering what you're going to feel and what the bike needs. When you go into track mode, that's switched off completely.
Right.
It's completely down to you.
Yeah.
Okay, so what we're looking for is absolute minimum intervention on the ABS. Yeah, so it allows more wheel slip before you get any intervention at all, and no cornering ABS and no linking of the brakes at all. So it's completely pure. It's exactly what you do, but with a safety net of the ABS if there's a situation where you grab the brakes a bit quick.
Now, the previous RS on track, I never had any issues with the ABS. Maybe, I think, if you had a slick tyre when you were racing, sure. But so this new system pretty much guarantees you won't get any sort of pulsate, lever pulsating, or any of that. No.
If you're riding fast to the limit, you won't be getting intervention.
No.
Okay, it's even will monitor the difference between you backing the bike into a corner and panic braking.
Right. Okay.
So you'll get less ABS intervention if you're intentionally slowing that rear wheel. Okay.
Yeah.
So it's an intelligent system. It's an intelligent system that does just what it needs to do.
And in terms of the traction control, how different is that to the previous model?
Okay,
is it exactly the same? Or?
It's the same system.
Yeah.
So we're using the IMU, and we're using wheel speeds.
Yeah.
Our own algorithms to give you both the traction control and front wheel lift control. The throttle maps are in road, rain, and sport are more aggressive.
Right. Okay.
They do give more response. More feel than previously. Yeah. So they have been taken on. So not only have you got more power, you've got more response and shorter gearing.
That's a big thing we missed, actually. Yeah.
Yeah.
So what is the difference? That's all across all 3.
All 3 we're running the same gearing. So we've got all new gearbox ratios, and a shorter final drive ratio as well.
How much shorter?
So when you multiply it out for each of the gears, first gear is about 1% taller. Because you're not just trying to get shorter ratios. You're trying to optimize the settings
and getting closer.
Yeah. So you've got first gear is about 1% taller.
Yeah.
Second is 5% shorter. Third and fourth are 6% shorter.
Oh, wow, okay.
And by the time you get up to 5th and 6th, they're only 2% shorter.
Right.
So again, you want that maximum speed.
Yeah.
You want it to be revving out. You've got 500 RPM more,
yeah.
basically, than previously
Yeah.
for your maximum power speed.
And something I spotted yesterday, the fuel tank has gone down. Is that right? They're all 15 litres.
They're 15-litre tanks now. It's all about packaging. It's all about ergonomics and optimizing. So it's a complete package. 15 litres is a good size in this class. It gives us the range we think the riders are going to want. But it does allow us to keep the bike very narrow. We keep our narrow standover. We keep a narrow tank. Everything's very compact. And as you can see, the stance is more aggressive.
Way more aggressive,
and really, really sharp. So.
Yeah. I'm sure many people will agree, but these bikes are better, safer, more technology, better handling, everything compared to that original 2007 Street Triple. But I have to say that bike it's still one of my favourites. It is exceptional. Do you guys, as a manufacturer and engineers, do you kind of look back on those days and go, oh, I wish we could do that, but you can't now for legislation and laws and everything else? Is there a little bit of you goes, that bike was so raw and so not undiluted is the wrong word, but it was just so raw, and it's almost a shame, you know. These bikes have to be like this now because you've got competition, etc. But it's just I'd love to have one of them again.
We came in with a completely new proposition.
Yeah.
I mean, the midweight class unfair midweight had been budget bikes.
Yes.
And we took a fair off for Daytona, and it was an absolute scream to ride, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Absolutely fabulous motorbike, and it sort of set a direction. Now, over the years, the evolution has genuinely made the bikes better, genuinely quicker, as you say, safer, more precise, and everything else. I understand what you mean about the rawness, but I think at the point we moved to 765cc, the bike grew up. It felt slightly bigger, more secure, even a better motorcycle, and we've continued that evolution. So we're offering more. We're offering more electronics that will improve the way the bike feels in the ride. And the track modes, they're fabulous too. So when you're track day in the bike, they're worth having. So pros and cons. Sometimes rose tinted specs. If you had that bike versus a 130 PS version, really, you might just prefer this really now on the road. So see what you think. I think you'll be pleased.
I'm sure I will be. Well, talking of that, we will be riding the bike in Jerez in February. So I don't wish time away, but 3 months can't come soon. 4 months can't come soon enough. So thanks, Stuart.
Okay, welcome. Cheers.